So hello everyone. Today let us start with disorders of nervous system. Okay. So first thing is increased intracranial pressure. Okay. So cranium is the cranial cavity. So where the pressure is increased, it is called as increased intracranial pressure. So this is a serious complication of many conditions. So the cranium forms a rigid cavity enclosing your brain, cerebral blood vessels, blood and cerebrospinal fluid. So an increase in volume of any one of these things will lead to raised intracranial pressure, because your brain is a your cranium is a closed box, so that it cannot withstand that pressure. So sometimes its effects are more serious than the condition causing it. Example, by disturbing the blood supply or distorting the shape of the brain, especially if the intracranial pressure rises rapidly. Okay. So next is cerebral edema. So edema is nothing but accumulation of fluid. So there is more movement of fluid from its natural compartment when edema develops. So cerebral edema occurs when there is an excess fluid in the brain cells or in the interstitial spaces, that is in between the cells, causing increased intracranial pressure. So it is associated with traumatic injury, that is injury to your head, hemorrhage, that is blood leakage, infections, abscess, fluid formation, hypoxia, local ischemia, infarcts, tumors, inflammation of your brain, meninges or hypoglycemia. Next is a hydrocephalus. So in this condition, the volume of the CSF, that is cerebrospinal fluid, will be abnormally high and is usually accompanied by increase in intracranial pressure. An obstruction to CSF flow is the most common cause for the hydrocephalus. So next is the cerebral hypoxia. So hypoxia may be due to disturbance of the auto-regulation of blood supply to the brain and conditions affecting cerebral blood vessels. So if severe hypoxia is sustained for more than a few minutes, there is an irreversible brain damage. So the neurons are affected first, then the neuroglial cells, and later meninges and the blood vessels will be affected. So next is the stroke. It is otherwise called as cerebrovascular diseases. So this condition is common cause of death and disability, especially in most of the elderly patients. So predisposing, what are all the conditions that can lead to stroke are hypertension, atheroma, that is plaque, atherus plaque, cigarette smoking, diabetes, etc. So it occurs when the vascular disease suddenly interrupts the blood flow, causing the hypoxia to the brain. So the effects include paralysis of the limb or either one side of the body, and disturbances will be there in the speech and vision. Okay. So what you can have it as a paralysis. So next is a dementia. So dementia is caused by progressive irreversible degeneration and atrophy. Atrophy means decrease in size of the cerebral cortex and results in mental deterioration, usually over several years. So the cerebral cortex area, it is the region where your intelligence is there. Okay. So this will lead to irreversible degeneration or atrophy of the cerebral cortex region. So this will lead to memory loss. So there is a gradual impairment in the memory, intellect and reasoning. So emotional liability and personality change will also occur in case of dementia. So next is the Alzheimer's disease. So this is a condition previously called as pre-senile dementia and is commonest form of dementia. Okay. So senile means aged. So it is unknown reason. Etiology means reason. Although genetic factors may be involved, there is a progressive atrophy of the cerebral cortex accompanied by deterioration of the mental function. So Huntington's disease or chorea. So it is caused by genetic abnormality associated with the deficiency in production of neurotransmitter, that is GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid. So extra pyramidal changes. Okay. So pyramidal nerves are those which coming through or crossing through the decussation. So remaining nerves are called as extra pyramidal nerves. So extra pyramidal changes will cause chorea, that is rapid uncoordinated jerking movement of the limbs and involuntary twitching of the facial muscles. Okay. There will be shaking of the hands and there will be tickling or improper movements, that is uncoordinated movements will be there, uncontrolled movement will be there in the facial muscles. So as this disease progresses, cortical atrophy occurs, that is cerebral cortex will cause atrophy and personality changes and dementia will also result. Next is the Parkinson's disease. So in this disease, there is a gradual degeneration of the dopamine releasing neurons in the extrapyramidal system. So this will lead to lack of control and coordination of the muscle movement. So it will result in fixed muscle tone causing expressionless facial features, rigidity. So the body and the face will become rigid, and voluntary movement which will cause slow and characterized stiff shuffling gait. So the posture, the position of the body will be altered, and stooping posture, you will become forward bending posture will be there. Muscle tremor. So there will be purposeless shaking of the muscles of the extremities, that is your legs and hands. So there will be pill rolling movement of the finger. So pill rolling movement is nothing but your thumb and the index finger will cause rolling movement. Okay, so the cause of this disease is usually unknown, but some are associated with the repeated trauma, that is injury to the, or otherwise you can have tumors or causing midbrain compression. So if there is any compression of the midbrain, this will lead to Parkinson disease. So drugs, certain drugs, example phenothiazines and heavy metal poisoning can also lead to Parkinson's disease. So there is a progressive physical disability, but the intellect is not impaired. So next is the pyrogenic meningitis. Meningitis means inflammation of the meninges, that is layers of your meninges. So pyrogenic means caused because of bacteria. So meningitis is most commonly transmitted through contact with the infected individuals. So pyrogenic bacteria will cause infection of the meninges, usually preceded by the mild respiratory tract infection. So usually it will start with the respiratory tract infection, so which in course will go to your meninges and will cause inflammation. So they are carried to the meninges, where they may be remain localized in the extradural or subdural space. If an abscess means pus formation, forms may rupture into the subarachnoid space and spreads to the brain, causing encephalitis and further abscess formation. So infection of the arachnoid matter tends to spread diffuse the subarachnoid space around the brain and the spinal cord. Next is the pyrogenic encephalitis. So this involves the single or multiple sites, usually with the abscess formation. So the microbe are either bloodborne or spread from the adjacent meningeal infection. So the effects include the following: inflammatory edema and abscess formation leading to increased intracranial pressure, hypoxia and further brain damage. So when the meningitis follows encephalitis, healing takes place within the formation of fibrous adhesion, which may interfere with the CSF circulation and cause hydrocephalus and compress the blood vessels, which may lead to hypoxia. So next is the viral infections. So viral infection of the nervous system are relatively rare when caused by neurotropic viruses. Okay, so especially the virus that will affect the neurons. So those viruses will cause viral infections, that is those with affinity for the nervous system alone. So viruses may cause meningitis, encephalitis or lesions on the neurons and spinal cord and peripheral nerves. So most viruses are bloodborne, although few travel along the peripheral nerves, that is rabies virus and possibly poliovirus too. So they enter the body through alimentary tract, example poliovirus, respiratory tract, example shingles, and skin abrasions, example rabies. So the effects of viral infections may vary according to the site and amount of tissue destroyed. So poliomyelitis, so this disease is usually caused by poliovirus and occasionally by other enterovirus. So enterus means through your alimentary canal. So the infection is spread by food contaminated with the infected fecal matter, and the initial virus multiplication occurs in the alimentary tract alone. So the virus are then bloodborne. So through blood it will travel to the nervous system and invade the anterior horn cells of the spinal cord. Next, multiple sclerosis. Okay, so in this disease there are areas of demyelinated white matter called plaques, so irregularly disturbed throughout the brain and spinal cord. So gray matter in the brain and spinal cord may also be affected because of arrangement of the satellite oligodendrocytes around the cell bodies. So in the early stages there may be little damage to the axons. Okay, so with this your topic is over. So remaining we can see in the next class. Take care. Bye bye.